Hey, welcome to Dollar Views. I'm Brian Gillis.
And I'm Stephen Maltmanex.
We're just a couple of Long Beach State film grads with a lifelong passion for cinema trying to put our money where our mouths are.
And we decided to make our BAs mean something by offering our spoiler-free take on the latest film releases.
Plus, any other media we've ingested over the past week.
Whether that's the latest buzzworthy show,
An album that's been on constant rotation,
that indie darling no one can shut up about,
a cute romantic comedy,
or the latest Michael Bay masterpiece.
we go over it all. $1 at a time.
Are you judging Pakistan's next top model?
You know how we have arranged marriage in my culture?
Oh my god, I'm so stupid. Can you imagine a world in which we end up together?
I don't know. I'm looking for Emily Gardner. She was checked in tonight.
There's an infection. We put her in a medically induced coma.
Coma.
You should call her family.
Thank you, Kumail. We're gonna handle things from here.
I think I'm just gonna wait anyway.
You guys broke up. I'm not sure why you're here.
I'm just gonna stay for a second. Is this seat? Okay. Is that lady still looking at me?
Hey, welcome everybody. Before we get into the three movies in the title, we gotta pause and do two things. One, just be amazed that both Steve and I were able to fit in three recent releases into one episode and not too delayed after Baby Driver. Kind of insane to think about. And two, to thank our Patreon supporters because they help fund these tickets, even if I haven't exactly still found out how I get the paycheck from Patreon. But we have two people that go to patreon.com/dollarviews and support what we do. When they started, we had way more out there. We were doing like 2 episodes a week dedicated between Debt to Cinema and 2 cents, and then Dollar Views on the side whenever that would occur. And now it's more like Debt to Cinema happens every week and Dollar Views happens sometimes. If you're curious what happened,
like 3 weeks that we missed or something.
yeah, and if you're curious where 2 cents went, you can listen to all 100 episodes. It's kind of like an archive of 2 years of the news, and we really talk about in that final episode, episode 100, about why it came to a close and also the news stories that we chronicled. But both Tyler from Future Horse Podcast and also Evelyn support us regardless of what we do, and because of them, I basically get YouTube without commercials, which is great because we have to do commercials and no one pays for it. It's like the weirdest, ironic, topsy-turvy just fiasco, but it's awesome. It's the internet, and hey, we had to be part of the small group of podcasters that don't just do this for the love of it, but also have people that want us to, have a coffee, which I actually just had a tea, but that was bought for me. But that's not the point.
Even if it's just 2 people in the world, like that's still those are still
something.
2 people that are saying, hey, what you're doing is worth doing.
Mm-hmm.
Please keep going.
They don't pay much if you really think about it. Evelyn supports us with $5 a month, and Tyler does $2. That's nothing. It depends where you are, but Evelyn does half an hour's of work pay for pretty much
since we're going with coffee,
8
it's a
episodes
latte.
a month.
It's basically a latte.
It really is.
Which still really way more than I feel like I deserve, but hell yes, thank you, because I get to keep doing this and not feel bad about it.
Yeah, I have to update what our goals are for when you back us, and also what our payouts are, because things are changing at Dollar Views. I'll get into that a little later in the episode if you stay around.
It only took nearly 5 years for you to get there.
Yeah, just something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you listen towards the end of the episode, and there are going to be a timestamp on the sections in particular, maybe Dollar Views is going to start selling things. Not going to toot my own horn, but it's kind of exciting. But we're going to start with the one that I decreed is more important this week. The Big Sick, the big Kumail Nanjiani, Zoe Kazan, Michael Showalter, Judd Apatow Amazon movie that took South by Southwest and also Sundance by storm. And as of right now is one of the best movies I've seen this year. Really happy I didn't wait for Prime on this one. Very happy this was my very first Amazon Studios movie in theaters. Especially because I accidentally missed my Manchester by the Sea showtime, but this is the one. This is the one that I've finally seen by them and went, yeah, I'm happy that they're putting their movies in theaters unlike Netflix. Because the theater that I went to, when it was still in its limited release, I know it has its full release now.
Yeah.
Lots of couples, lots of good times, lots of laughs.
Oh yeah,
it was a great crowd.
I also had some stuffed potato naan with my showing because they had food exclusively.
I saw the Alamo. I saw the Draft House menu that Kumail tweeted out. Real cool.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sorry, Brian. I'm going to be completely useless to you for this review because
You sleep through it?
I'm just going to say the same thing throughout this entire review. Fuck, this was great.
It really
like,
was.
just you know my taste in comedy though at this point, that it's like,
well, it's despite it being a Judd Apatow movie.
I feel like I'm just going to regurgitate shit I kind of liked before. Like, yeah, the Apatow staple was enough for me to feel confident in it, but it's like this, it's just that balance of comedy and drama, and just how those situations feel like so real that like sometimes it's so painfully real, but then sometimes it's so absurd it has to be real that you just can't help but laugh at it in a special way.
When this is an actual story. This
this
real
is like
life
50-50,
scenario.
And that thing where it's
more so though.
It's taken though like from someone's real life experience, specifically from the writers, and yet there's a lot of jokes in there, but there's a lot of pain that comes through as well that feels genuine because it's a real story.
It's like Emily Gordon and Kumail Nanjiani, they've been together for like 3 or 4 years now, and if you haven't seen the trailer for this, maybe you're waiting for Prime, maybe you don't want it spoiled. It's not really spoiling it, like we said, because it's real. Basically, Kumail met her, did for a little bit, and then she fell into a coma, and you didn't fall in love with her until she was comatose. There's a movie out there called The Vow, which kind of has a similar storyline to it, and that one is also based on a true story, but that's a piece of shit. As much as I like Channing Tatum and Rachel McAdams, don't watch that. It's a waste of 2 hours. This is not. This is one of those perfect date movies. We went on a date. We went out to LA. We had to catch it. We didn't know where we were going to see it, but we ended up getting ramen, which was really good.
Nice.
And like I had this amazing beer. It was like this probiotic sour like cider. It was so good. It had like passion fruit and guava in it, and it had a good percentage. It was like 9%. But the ramen was good. Then we went to like Ben Jerry's and got a shake, and then we went to the theater, and we saw this movie. And we've been seeing a lot together. Like I've been telling people this. I've seen more movies with Ashley in the month and a half that we've known each other than I've seen with every other girl probably that I've ever dated combined. Like, we really watch them, not just in theaters. We don't really watch movies at home, but most of the Dutch cinemas that have happened since I've met her, she's watched with me. La Femme Nikita, we're going to watch that together. Detention, we watched that one. Bullet is like the only one so far that we didn't, and that's because, hey, you can listen to the review for that one. Not the most exciting movie, especially the first 40 minutes. She fell asleep, with good reason. But no, yeah, she loved it too. I kind of downplayed how much I liked it because I wanted to fuck with her, because she took me, like, I ended up driving, but it was her car, it was her money, it was her treat. And
she was the one that you didn't really want to go into this right away.
Oh, no.
She was the one gung ho for it, right?
Were you talking about the movie?
Yeah, like it was her that really wanted to go, and then you were.
When we were doing 2 Cents still, and I saw that this was such a big craze, before I even knew the racial makeup.
Because you got your thing with Amazon. It's like, well, I'd rather wait.
I really wanted to see this one. I wanted to see it that first week. I wanted to kind of actually go and do one of the Q&As. I truly want to see this. At the ArcLight in LA, they had Ray Romano and one of the producers. And I was like, at first I was like...
Q&A through Skype here, I think, over the weekend, which I wasn't going to go see it again for that, but...
I was like, who the fuck cares about Ray Romano? This is the Welcome Mooseport guy. And then I saw the movie, and I was like, okay, Ray Romano is the reason why the movie's so good. Maybe I wish I did that Q&A.
It's just, Holly Hunter is also just as good.
Everyone's good.
It's because,
Zoe Kazan, Holly Hunter, Ray Romano,
it's really just down
Kumail.
to the writing and how complicated everyone is that, you can't help but be fascinated by just... every single character nearly. Well, maybe
this
not
movie
the stand-up
makes
friends,
you.
but yeah.
No, it makes you like Bo Durham. It makes you like A.D. Bryant. Like they are all likable, or not likable. That's the wrong term. But it does the exact same thing that Funny People does, where you have these, or to a lesser extent, what's the?
I'm cool with Funny People. Keep going. But...
What's the Second City one that just came out last year? The one that you really liked, the Mike Birbiglia movie.
Don't Think Twice. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, movies that I love for similar reasons. So it's like this was bound to be up my alley.
Just the drama and misery of being a comic, right? Like Seinfeld doesn't really get into that, even though that's part of the process too. Or like Curb Your Enthusiasm, same story. It's more about the characters and the fucked up lives they live. But when it comes to Funny People and this one, and 50-50 to a much lesser extent, you understand just how hard it is to be funny or to try to make people laugh.
Well, it's like that's the thing. It's like this is the perfect mesh of like I love 50-50, I love Funny People, I love Don't Think Twice, and this is like those all combined into one where you have the movie about stand up about a comedian trying to get by, and then you have a very serious medical situation, and then you've
got a great romance.
Yeah, like there's a great relationship in there. It's I feel like an asshole talking about movies like this because I'm just going to keep saying like, man, isn't it so good? But like, you know, the big thing we're skating over though too, and you know, this is actually a big deal because yes, we keep talking about whitewashing. This is not a movie written for a white person. It's you know, the immigrant experience is something that I'm familiar with growing up, at least more from the outside with Asian culture. But yeah, like. It's, you know, just that family dynamic and like seeing how that works with, you know, just people that are growing up trying to find their identity as Americans, but yet their parents are just trying to hammer in these old traditions that they have. And just seeing that at play, like, is not something we've really gotten that much narratively, at least in American cinema, to this effect.
In cinema, I can't think of, especially Pakistani culture, a film that's done it this well. And it's like real painful in the film when Kumail has his like one-man show where it's basically Welcome to Pakistan.
Yeah.
But Master of None season 2 in particular does like the same exact thing for Indian culture. And I'm sure Aziz Ansari and Kumail Nanjiani are like friends, or at least you know, associates in some capacity, not just because of the color of their skin, but when they made it in Hollywood based on kind of who they are. Like Kumail is more like, oh yeah, I'm from Pakistan, whereas Aziz is, I'm from fucking Nashville, bitch. Like, I'm just brown. But at the same time, there really is a crossover here between what Master of None does and what this movie does, where it's about the neo-American dream, where it's no longer about this diaspora of holding on to whatever culture you're from, but more so creating your own in your American image that you want to create. Like, it's no longer, this is what my parents wanted, this is what I'm doing because it's what they want. It's more so I'm writing my own adventure, or literally writing my own movie about my own adventure. It's really interesting. Like, I hope that they get to write something together again. Maybe Amazon gives them a TV show that they actually star in instead of having Zoe Kazan in the show too. Because, you know, as much as I like her, we share a birthday. We've like corresponded on Twitter before. Great actress. I like, in the same way that I love her and Paul Dano, and it's awesome that they're in a relationship too. And they've been in a movie about their relationship, kind of called Ruby Sparks, which is also
it's
really
a great
rom-com.
movie. No, absolutely.
It would have maybe been a little too surreal if you had this relationship featuring the people that it's about, written by the people it's about. Like, that's when it's no longer art. It's kind of just like an imitation of life. But at the same time, this film, it's great. Like,
as an imitation of life, though, it is powerful. I mean, just because you know, I think that's what's making it hit home, is that there are various ways that people can relate to this. Like, you know, not to, I don't think this is really a spoiler if you know that this is based on a true story, which we're already going on about. But, you know, for me, the medical side, specifically the coma side, I mean, as someone who has been in a coma, and if you want to hear more on that, you can listen to The Grey. There are details there.
Get to cinema, whatever that is, The Grey.
Yeah. Joe Carnahan liked the episode too, so that actually meant the world to me. But, yeah, when you wake up, it's a trip because everybody else that's awake goes through something else.
Oh my god, you were in a coma, and you're like, oh my god, I was asleep.
It's literally like you went to bed one night, and then, but for everybody else, it was like, it's been probably like a week or 2 or 5 days in my case, and a whole lot of shit has happened, and it's the weirdest thing. There were other factors in there for me that like kind of blurred it a little bit, but yeah, like, just how people like seem so happy just to see that you're okay, and you're looking at them like, the last time I saw you, like, literally like 5 seconds before I went to sleep, so-called, you were being kind of a dick, you know. Like, it's really weird little details like that just hit home in a very, very painful way. But I think just like why I love movies like this in general, why I love this movie in particular, is like, it doesn't shy away from those facts. And, you know, I do think, as far as storytelling, you know, like the big reasons why we just go for stories in any media whatsoever it is, there's always just some reaffirmation of, why it's worth living life, whether it be a comedy, whether it be a romantic comedy, that you could find someone, an action movie, and that you have a cause that is worth fighting for, belief that's worth holding on to and just fighting for it, or maybe it's just fucking visceral thrills, whatever the fuck, maybe it's political ideals, anything. But with this, just this kind of movie, when it hits so close to just how authentic these painful moments are that you don't think about, that very few people experience, but you get to some degree, you can at least relate to it a little bit through experience, or you can get just that gateway into really what it is, how it feels, how complicated it is, and still get an understanding of it. That just is a miracle of cinema, just storytelling through film, that it can create that. This is not going to be a game changer in cinema, but just that's kind of why I love movies like this. These are miracle movies to me, that it can pull off that effect and it can resonate, and then when more people embrace it, it's so tough to describe, and I feel like an asshole for reviewing it, for trying to, because I don't think I can, but it really is incredible. I fucking love this movie.
It's just incredible that this movie exists. I mean, if it wasn't for Amazon, or if it had gone to Netflix,
this would not have been released by Universal. If I have to guess, maybe the budget was $15 million, because
probably less than that, to be honest.
They shot in Chicago. I'm guessing that has to be expensive, but not everybody's getting a big paycheck.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I feel like that might be fair.
It's Michael Showalter, who is a name, but he doesn't have a lot. He's the other half of that pairing who hasn't done much. He did My Name is Doris, and that's really it. He's still at the beginning of his career, and this is gonna blow everyone away that hasn't seen it thus far. Where it's wait, that's the guy that wrote Wet Hot American Summer? Wait, what? He's the guy that works with Michael Wayne, who makes those really fucking weird movies. David Wayne, excuse me. He's a piece of work. He's very interesting. His comedic timing is bizarre, and this makes me want to watch My Name is Doris even more. The heart that is put into this, that's the only word that you can really describe the film. It's the emotional, just baggage it makes you carry throughout, whether it's trying to make you laugh, or it's trying to make you cry, or just be awestruck by these moments. Aw, and then hit in the face.
I don't know, it's just the pain. There's certain things here, with Ray Romano, where it's it doesn't redeem anything, but yet it hits the nail perfectly on the head, where it's just as far as his perspective and what he's saying.
Well, Holly Hunter's perspective too, especially. Just
she
hasn't
you're much
been
more
in
sympathetic
something...
to that, but it's just I how Ray Romano shits on himself.
I can't remember the last time she was in something where you really went, oh yeah, holy fuck, Holly Hunter's a really good actress. Okay, she's in Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, whatever. She's just a paycheck, right? Here, though, for the first time, I haven't. Well, she's a good voice actress in that.
She's great in Always. She plays the love interest role in that.
I haven't really seen her in something since Raising Arizona, where I went legitimately, why isn't this woman in more?
She got to be in Always right after that.
It's her accent. It's her just screen presence, just her range in this film, where she's really fun and drunk, and then she's I'm gonna fucking slice your throat, come at me, bro. Where she feels very realized. I know that this is inspired by Emily V. Gordon's mom, but at the same time, when you have someone portray someone in your life, though, on all three accounts here, all six accounts, I guess. You can do the three people from Kumail's family, the two from Emily Gordon's family, and then the two people at the heart of the film. Regardless of who it is, it comes off not as just a good Apatow comedy, or a good romance, or a good romantic comedy, but as a really fucking good movie. I know we're in July. It is not exactly award season.
There's been talk about that for several movies.
This is getting nominated for Golden Globes. It's gonna win some Golden Globes.
You know what? When it comes to the Oscars, this has to get it for screenplay at the very least. Bridesmaids got a Best Original Screenplay nomination, so I think the Apatow name has grown as far just over the years, because Knocked Up was in that conversation of it should have gotten it, but of course it didn't. And He's just getting more and more respect as he goes, I think. So, yeah, for original screenplay, absolutely, I could see that.
It should be very obvious at this point, and if it isn't, you're listening to the wrong podcast. I'd buy that for $1.
It's a dime a dozen. Fuck, of course, this... like...
The beauty of this film is if you're too lazy to go see a romantic comedy and you have Amazon Prime, you're going to get to watch it for free. You're going to have to wait until like September, October, but you're going to be able to stream this for free, and I know I will at some point in the future just because it is that good. Like, I own Knocked Up and Forgetting Sarah Marshall and The 40-Year-Old Virgin. I own a lot of these films. I Love You, Man. And there's a reason why I do, because I got most of them on the cheap. Well, not Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I got that on Blu-ray. I wanted to pay that money for that one.
I mean, I'm telling you this, before it hits Amazon, I'm buying it.
I don't know if I will.
I will buy it.
As much
Even
as
if
I
the
liked
bonus features are light, you know, it's like, I love this movie that much that I will happily have it on my shelf.
I think the reason for me that, like, yes, I'm buying it for our review, and I would buy it at the rate that I get movies, but like a $15 Blu-ray, I don't know, because it is a heavy hitter. This is not something that you can have on in the background. This is emotional. Like, there's a lot of beats here.
But I could say the same for 50-50. It's just here there's
definitely for
there's
me,
definitely
I don't
more
want
things
that one.
happening. I don't know. It's like sometimes I need to pop something in or watch a moment specifically that has to remind me that I can feel, you know? So
like
sometimes I need heavy stuff like for a bit.
This is kind of like the more realistic version of Silver Linings Playbook. Okay, that's totally
way better than that. I love Silver Linings Playbook, but yeah,
I'm not saying in terms of quality. Just that's a fantasy that has a Cinderella ending. That has like all of the great beats that make you feel warm on the inside, and it is. I called it at the time
rom-com.
It's one of those. It was more like a romantic dramedy, but it's one of those films where, if you buy that film for someone, you gift it to them, they're not going to be upset. Like, they're going to be very happy because they either know what it is or they see the cover and they know who's in it, and they're going to be satisfied. And you can watch it like any time of the day, and you're going to walk away being pleased. Whereas this one is more of a contemplative film.
It's not going to make you like think that things for other people, but I'm just saying for me. Like, if you know me personally and you want to buy me something, like... If you want to go on my Amazon wish list and send me something because you like the reviews, then yes, this will probably be a way to win my heart.
That's really what we need to do. We need to make our Amazon links public on the website.
I think you have mine on the website somewhere, or I sent it to you. I'm not sure.
I think I have it. Well, we have to put this on the website, though. That way the people that don't support our Patreon can still find a way to give us something that we want. Yep. I think we'll do that tonight. But yeah, seriously.
I'll take it, yeah, sure.
If you're in a relationship, or better than that, you just got out of one, or, best of all, if the person you love is in a coma, hunt this one down. It's not playing at every theater. Hopefully it gets more and more added on, because it's one of the biggest grossing films this year in terms of screens it's playing on, and it's going to be a shame when this leaves cinemas, because given that it's Amazon release and it got a very small window in the first place, it probably isn't getting a re-release for holiday season, even if it does garner some nominations. So see this one now before you never have a chance to do it again, because it is Amazon and it's probably only going to live digitally after this run. So please go see it.
You know what, this is what I'm calling this, though, as far as just how to pin it down. This is probably the best coming-of-age movie of the year.
I don't know.
Really think about that. Really think about that. Someone who's trying to come into their own in stand-up comedy, someone who's trying to get into a relationship, and someone who's...
It's not coming of age, though.
Yeah, but...
When you're a grown man and you're already living on your own...
Hey, you know what? We're always growing and we're always changing. Yeah, he's a bit older, but he's still trying to form his own identity and just of how he wants to be nationally, like... It's not like he's dependent on his parents, but he's still trying to pave his own way and figure things out. So I do think, in a way, it's definitely a coming-of-age one. Not in the classic sense.
Does Liz get a new top?
No, we've seen that before. Never with that skirt.
Should probably stop staring before it gets creepy, though. Too late. You guys are losers. So, to become an Avenger, are there, like, trials or an interview?
Just don't do anything I would do. And definitely don't do anything I wouldn't do. There's a little gray area in there, and that's where you operate.
Oh.
All right?
That's not a hug. I'm just grabbing the door for you. All right, kid. Good luck out there.
Listen, I know school sucks.
Peter, you still with us?
Yeah.
I know you want to save the world, but you're not ready yet.
You're the Spider-Man.
No, I'm not. I'm not. This is just a costume. This is
You're on the ceiling.
Given you said coming of age, I'm going to forego the order we chose initially, and we're going to talk about a real coming of age movie, Spider-Man: Homecoming.
It's not That's not coming of age.
It's about a high school kid who's coming to terms with his
fun.
superpowers,
He
and
matures
also
a little bit throughout. Okay, sure, but it's not like he came of age.
This is the movie that Sony pitched. It 100% is what they said it was going to be, even if I don't agree totally. It is an MCU John Hughes film. This tries and accomplishes the feat of making an 80s high school film. It might not have as much fun going on in it because, hey, it is a superhero film. There is a bad guy. There is, these emotional beats, a scale that none of John Hughes was able to do, unless you count Ferris Bueller, which this film has a very, very, very obvious call out to, which I kind of disapproved of, especially
I
in the
didn't
scene.
disapprove it. I was just kind of like, okay, you're doing a Ferris Bueller reference because, well, people will get it now
Bueller.
that grew up with Netflix, and it's a reference thrown in for no other reason than a reference.
Well, more so Spider-Man kind of is Ferris Bueller. It was the right one to do.
This one modeled after Ferris Bueller, sure.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I mean,
or
this
more like
Spider-Man.
a Ferris Bueller wannabe.
Because I had this conversation with a coworker where they were like, I don't want to fucking see Spider-Man, but like, dude, like this is before it came out. And I was like, dude, he's actually a high schooler this summer. I was like, he's always been a high schooler. I'm like, no, listen. He's actually in high school. He's like, yeah, he's always in high school. I was like, no.
Yeah, so was Andrew Garfield in the first one. Just Tom Holland is a lot younger.
The difference is in both the Tom Holland Amazing Spider-Man, or not Tom Holland, in Amazing Spider-Man 1 with Andrew Garfield, and also Spider-Man 1, or at least the first half of it. Because he's like, he that first Spider-Man, he evolves so
setting,
fast.
Really.
It's so crazy.
Well, here's the thing. In this one, right when you get down to that cell phone footage,
yeah,
that's where you
that
accept it right away.
So
no,
amazing.
It's not that he's in high school. It's
that he's
this is a kid. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the big deal. Like, it's this annoying little shit that's just geeking out and having the time of his life. But, he's a kid, and it just sets the tone perfectly, and you know exactly what kind of movie you're in for, where it's not exactly a teen movie. It's kind of like, it's like a freshman high school movie, if anything. Which, how often do we get that?
That's what it's going for, too. That's the beauty of this franchise, or this franchise within a franchise. Homecoming is sophomore year. They're saying that the next one, which they better not fuck up, and it should be titled Junior Prom, is going to be year 3 of high school, and then it's probably going to be Spider-Man Graduation, which is going to be the end, and probably like have like a little bit of the beginning of college or whatever. That they're trying to do a Harry Potter thing, that they want this to be it's not coming out every year. The next one is pegged for 2019. The one after that's probably going to be 2020 or 2021. But the idea is that you can mature along with this Peter Parker, and that it is grounded. It isn't. It's like you said, it's not that it's set in high school, but rather that these are high schoolers. And it does feel that way between the academic decathlon and the trip to DC, them just like doing lab work and hanging out and doing gym class. And like it doesn't have not the grit, I think that's the wrong term, but it doesn't have that punk aesthetic, like that actually like wild at heart, almost realistic vibe that John Hughes was able to imbue in his writing and directing. Like, it doesn't have its finger on the pulse, which is funny to talk about because it was coincidental and actually accidental that I picked Detention as our
That's what I was going to say. I mean,
last week.
I'm very presumptuous as far as what high schoolers are like now,
but that is what they're like now.
It feels like that's what it is. I mean, honestly, I was like thinking this, like, why the fuck wasn't Joseph Kahn on the short list to direct? Just based on that, it's like, man, he could have really made it big.
It would be awesome if
it would have been
Bodied
awesome.
Opens really big and people start talking about him again. He gets gifted the second film instead of John Watts. Because, hey, John Watts did a great job.
Sadly, I think he's kind of in director's jail, his words, supposedly, because
he's not, though. He just won a CMA for Video of the Year.
No. But
he's won so many awards as a music video
director. In the
director.
film industry, the reason is apparently he was not easy to work with on Torque, and that word got around.
I
So
bet.
that's why he just stayed with music videos for a while.
That's how
But yeah.
people with vision are. When you are an auteur, when you know what you're looking for, when you have a true, not just style, but voice in your body, that you're not going to be easy to work
there's some
with.
people that are easy to work with, like Ridley Scott, and then there's just some that are difficult to work with, like.
But Ridley
I don't know
Scott,
who else.
for all intents and purposes, is like not a generic filmmaker, but it's like
knows how to
typical
play-
Hollywood
he
production.
usually works with the studio as allies.
Yeah.
He's not really a hack. It's just he's like, yeah, you're
No,
giving me
he's
money.
the
I'm not
opposite
gonna
of a
fuck
hack.
you
He
over.
makes great films, some of the most acclaimed genre films of all time. But he set a standard that people have copied, and then even Ridley Scott, if you look at something like Alien Covenant, has even copied himself. And then at the same time, you have Joseph Kahn, who in just the 2 movies that he's made, in just Torque and in Detention,
He has a very polarizing style that will put off a lot of people.
Literally created his own filmic style, which is kind of impossible to do. But then if you see Detention, and please do, and then listen to our review and get back at us, no, like, it feels like high school actually feels, whereas this is John Francis Daley and his writing partner trying to remember what it was like to be on the set of Freaks and Geeks. Like, it doesn't feel like high school. It still feels like a Marvel movie, just with a young kid in high school with a set of high school characters
These are like cliche jokes that I feel like I would see in the 90s, like Penis Parker. Really?
Yeah, that was horrible. They wasted him too.
Not horrible, but I was just kind of like, but by the way, Flash, and probably the worst Flash in any Spider-Man
Tony
film.
Revolori was wasted in this film. Like, as
Yeah.
good as he
Love
is
the
in
dude in
Dope,
yeah.
and also Grand Budapest Hotel, like, I know Flash has a bigger role in the future, and he's going to have one in this franchise, but he's supposed to be a jock, which is already kind of taken out of the picture when you're at this sciencey high school,
He's
which,
a
by the
modern
way...
jock.
Why the fuck
like-
is there a homecoming at a science school and they don't have a sports team? Whatever, doesn't matter.
Hey, Flash was on the basketball team, remember?
Not really.
In
That was
other
Jim.
movies, apparently.
Yeah, no. Well, he's like he's the all-state champion, like track and field, football, basketball, like all things considered. Like going from Joe Manganiello to I forget who they cast in
this series
the
never
Andrew
really,
Garfield stuff.
Spider-Man never really makes that much sense to begin with. Like, I
It
hate
does,
to use the
though.
comic
Like,
book excuse, but I mean, come on. Like
the beauty of Spider-Man, which they do get here,
The
is like
character
you
they
said, with the found footage, with the way it starts, where you have
Oh,
this
yeah.
backdrop for Captain America: Civil War or Iron Man: Civil War, whatever you want to call it, where you get this behind the scenes shit, where you're like, oh, that's what he was doing here. And now the movie's going to start. Like, the fact that you get this, and then also, yeah, you get the prologue with Michael Keaton, who I love that he's introduced before anyone else, because, hey, he's the big name in this movie. He's the one that's been 3 superheroes now.
Let's talk about Michael Keaton for a bit, because you are a bigger fan than
Batman, Birdman, Vulture.
I mean,
he
I
loves
like the
flying
guy,
superheroes
I don't
and villains.
lose my shit over actors, but you are, like, I would say a fan. Like, you you were really excited for this just based on him being in it. I'm just going to say this right now. Best villain in the MCU. Not really a villain, but best antagonist, rather.
Best antagonist, not the best villain. I think the best villain still goes to
Loki.
Probably Loki.
I don't know. I'm torn because I actually really liked Ultron a lot.
I didn't. I thought that
really
was
fun
just-
as a villain for me.
It wasn't done 100%. It's
Okay,
probably
but, like,
Loki.
Best developed antagonist, though,
But
is Michael
I think the
Keaton.
reason why Loki gets it is because he's the villain in the first Avengers movie. So that
He's
just
a
built
lot of
him up.
fun. Like,
He
he's
built him.
just-
It built him up way more. He's a trickster, he's a god. Like, he's beyond, like, he's omnipresent, okay? And then here, it's just this human dude that has a flying.
That's the thing I
fucking
love about it, is,
vehicle.
like, I mean, just this idea that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's all this stuff on the ground that we have not been seeing, that Spider-Man is the one keeping his ear on the ground. And
Well, the
with
Defenders.
the exception of TV, there's
the
Agents
Netflix
of
people.
S.H.I.E.L.D., there's Daredevil, I don't even know if that's supposed to be the same
Jessica
universe,
Jones.
but cinematically, like, this is the first time we're getting that glimpse into that, where we're not getting something that's overblown. It's like, all those guns that the Chitauri had, yeah, someone probably dug that up and did something with it.
Which
Hey,
makes
it's been
sense.
5 years. They've definitely perfected that at this point.
was a really smart way of repurposing the Avengers in a way, especially even though it doesn't really touch on it, Age of Ultron, in terms of what was at stakes there, and then once again in Civil War, which is the introduction to this Spider-Man. It makes sense, both his place in that film and then his place in the MCU, especially where it stands now. They just wrapped Infinity War like a couple of days ago. They did the D23 presentation today where they had every single actor on the stage. You can see pictures of this year, like, holy fuck, that's an ensemble.
Footage of it?
Yeah, they have a sizzle reel, which is probably going to be in theaters, I would assume, in the next month.
Yeah.
And probably Thor, and if not Thor, definitely Star Wars. That's when the trailer's going to land, definitely for Star Wars.
Yeah.
They're going to probably put the tickets on sale during Star Wars, and I'll buy an IMAX 3D one because in just the description that I read on Ain't It Cool News, I was like, fuck. Yeah, okay, I'm going to see this one. Like, Black Panther, I'm not sold on it. Ant-Man the Wasp, not sold on it, as much as I like Peyton Reed.
Oh, no, you're still on Thor, aren't you?
No, I really want to see Thor. But the
you
other
said
two,
you were sitting it out after Guardians. Don't forget that.
No, I was saying I was sitting out the rest of the MCU, which I kind of do feel like doing. Like, it's at the point now where I got like fucking zero interest in Captain Marvel.
Thor, and then it's Black Panther, and then it's Infinity War.
Yeah, so Infinity War, that's 10 years of filmic memory.
Everyone's going to that. So,
Everyone's going.
Yeah,
it's the reason why we saw Iron Man like several times, and speaking of, this is Iron Man 3.5.
10 years.
Or actually, this is Iron Man. This movie is Iron Man 4.5.
Not really. I mean,
it's 4.5. Because
like,
Civil War is Iron Man 4.
Tony Stark is present, but he's a supporting character. He has no arc here. He has no development, really.
Compare that to every single MCU movie besides Civil War, where no one shows up for more than 5 seconds, and here he's here for like literally like 20 minutes.
I'm just saying he's not.
And if it's not him, it's Happy Hogan. And if it's not Happy Hogan, it's Stark Industries. If it's not Stark Industries, it's a Stark internship. It's not that, like it's something random. Like
he's very much present. I'm just saying he's not a big character. I mean, unless you're trying to count the Spider-Man Iron Man suit.
Yeah, well, not just that, but in terms of,
I mean, at least this is doing something different from the other movies. In that, hey, that suit, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's going to be in Avengers.
Yeah, Karen, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, voiced by Jennifer Connelly, by the way.
Yeah.
This film is good. It's got good beats. It's really funny. It's a good Spider-Man movie. Michael Giacchino didn't do his best score because how'd they scrap the Danny Elfman score? Why would they scrap it? Is more the question. He made, like, you hear it for a second. You hear it during the Marvel Overture, and then you don't hear it the whole film. There is no tongue-in-cheekness that Sam Raimi brought, where there's some Asian woman on the subway playing the Spider-Man song. Maybe that's something that happens later down the road. Maybe if Sony gets more of the reins, because this is very much so a Kevin Feige movie.
Well, I mean, this is basically Sony presents the next Marvel Studios film.
Yeah. Like, Amy Pascal might have been the producer.
That's how the logo plays, is that, okay, there's the Sony Columbia logo, and then they just present it like normal.
Yeah. Which is also funny because I love watching Sony movies, and especially pointing out their technology in them. If you watch a James Bond movie, maybe not in Baby Driver, but in most of their blockbusters, everyone has Sony
James
technology.
Bond actually had an iPhone. You remember why, right?
But in most of the contemporary Sony blockbusters, they really push their tech. Most notably in Chappie.
I rewatched scenes of Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like, they really shoved that down.
That's a Sony commercial. Yeah. Be moved.
Still love that movie. But
in Chappie, like, that's the best commercial they made for the PS4. I can't believe that movie.
That's right. He steals a bunch of
and what I loved about this one is only the rich people have Sony smartphones. Michael Keaton has one. I think one other person, but then Peter Parker has a piece of shit iPhone. He can't afford it. And I love that there is that duality there where they recognize that they make premium devices and not everyone can have them. But Spider-Man's one of those movies where it's like, it's a solid MCU movie. It has a great villain. There are high stakes for it being a high school film, and it's Spider-Man. It's a crowd pleaser. It's a good movie. But unlike Guardians, where I was upset about being fucking jerked along, like, oh, there's nothing to do with Avengers here, you do get a good tease here for the next Avengers film. and also like just what is
I
leading
don't know
up to
about
that.
you. I mean, I was kind of underwhelmed in that aspect. Like I felt like I waited around for
I
just
didn't
nothing,
see it
you know?
for that reason.
If
though,
you get what I'm saying, right now.
It was cute though. I knew what it was going into it, but the post credits thing here is cute, and it's worth the wait.
It's a good laugh. Yeah,
it's a fun little thing that they could do, especially
because though, like as a high school movie, it's just like
it's whatever
basic high school tropes. It's like a big thing. I was just like, I didn't care about the relationship / romance. Mm-hmm. Then at the same time, this is early high school, so it's like, well, not every single encounter with a girl in high school has to be the most important moment in your life. Like in that sense, I was like, fuck teen cliches, but
they
I
are
gotta
building
say this.
to a bigger romance, and you're aware
and
of that.
I don't know how to feel about that, of how they throw in, like, it's
it wasn't
a twist,
thrown
like it's
in.
a reveal. Like,
this film is all about twists, or not twists, but...
I'm sorry, but just, I don't know, is there really a spoiler at this point? Because I've seen headlines on it, but... Okay, but, well, I'll bleep it out, but really?
I didn't care.
Really?
It's not it's a different character who just so
I get
happens
it,
to share
but
the initials.
It's like, that's clearly what they're aiming for if they're going to put it that way. Like, because everyone in the audience is familiar with what supposed to mean. And, I mean, just Michelle, by the way, just humor, I don't know, maybe it's just that deadpan humor doesn't work for me, but I was like, what no, I guess that's a thing. I didn't find it funny at all.
She's like a Disney star that this is like her first big break.
Yeah.
And so there's a...
I got nothing against her. I'm just saying, like, the way that the character is written.
No, for sure. But I'm just saying,
kind of like,
there's a draw there for the younger crowd to see someone who's closer to their demographic and age. But for people like us who just want a movie, that's kind of like wasted casting. Like, she's not Tom Holland. She's not this fucking ballet trained actor who's really good and really young. This one's a silver dollar. It's a solid Marvel movie.
It's
really
a Marvel
is.
flavor of the week.
It's a solid one, though.
It's a fun Friday night movie.
They checked all the boxes. They were trying to make a romantic teen, like, high school film. They made one. It's not amazing, but then again, those are hard to make well anymore because the people that make movies, the people in Hollywood, haven't been in high school for so long that they literally don't understand the speed at which it moves now. That's why something like Detention or something like Dope really gets it. They understand just the nuances of the millennial coming-of-age experience. Whereas this is, hey, look, it's good for the whole family. No one's doing drugs here at this college party. No one's really even drinking. Like, you know how fun it would have been to see Spider-Man get drunk at that party and to, like, throw up while web swinging?
Oh, yeah. This is one thing that I feel like I should have actually brought up, but, like, there's been 6 Spider-Man movies at this point, including this. Mm-hmm. And this is still able to come up with action sequences that conceptually you just haven't seen before.
Did you see this one in 3D?
There's a sequence in DC that...
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Conceptually,
in the trailer.
Is really cool and just really challenges what Spider-Man has to do here just to be able to win it out. There's other ideas specifically in the finale too, which I love that it's a very just focused finale and it's not going for an overblown like we have to save the entire
the
city or
whole
whatever.
world.
It's just there's a goal here. It's clear cut. It's not overblown. Good, it's focused on 2 people and that's all you need. But I mean, the stakes there are definitely felt, and it fucking works.
Did you see this one in 3D?
I did not. No.
You didn't miss out on anything. I was actually really let down. I had an opportunity.
I rewatched scenes of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in 3D, and I was
I
was thinking of that, though, during Spider-Man Homecoming, where I'm like, I think Amazing Spider-Man 2 perfected the swinging scenes and just that sense of vertigo when... He's up in the air swinging, and in Homecoming there was never a shot where I was like,
swinging.
Yeah, no. You should feel that. But
there's one little sequence where there was some swinging, but I was kind of upset. I had a chance to do a double date to see this movie, and I was like, well, do they want to do 3D? And the answer was no. I was like, well, I kind of want to see 3D. It's a Sony movie. It's a Marvel movie. It's a Spider-Man movie.
And then you were kind of like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, pretty much, because I was like, man, because
I heard it was good in 3D.
It's not bad. It's just the $3 aren't felt here. There's there's no pop factor, there's not a lot of depth, and it mostly comes down to the fact that, this is an organic high school film, that most of this is set like in the classroom. There's not a lot of action set pieces. It's a lot of conversation, there are great moments, but not much of it is action oriented, and so you don't have like web shooters coming out the screen. Like even in the moments that could have really worked, I was almost surprised, because having done the Spider-Man Homecoming VR experience, which is free on any VR platform you have, including PlayStation Virtual Reality, that was done really well. Like for how short it is, it was kind of impressive for being a free little demo. Like it uses the motion controllers, and you get to like web shoot and web swing a little bit, and it's awesome in there. So I went into the movie thinking about that, going, well, if they put that much money into the 3D of this free thing, what's the 3D going to be on this huge blockbuster that Sony made? And I was sadly kind of disappointed, just because I don't know. Like I gotta
tell you, just if you ever get the 3D Blu-ray for Amazing Spider-Man 2,
I should have. I could have got for $10
honestly,
recently.
no. I mean, those sequences, they really, really went all out. Like, especially just the very first shot that you see of Spider-Man. It's really cool because it basically is of him just falling. Like, there's like an over-the-shoulder shot, and then just way down at the bottom there's the ground, and then there's just this tremendous sense of vertigo, and it's just incredible. Like they really, really went all out on the 3D for this second one, and I'm kind of sad that they never got to continue it, because I'm one of the few people that likes that movie.
Something that this film did really well that no other Spider-Man film has been able to do thus far was the way that it is able to balance several villains at once. Like, yes, Shocker's in this film, but not really. Vulture's in this film. You have the larger, like, Marvel, like, MCU conflict at hand, and then you also have, like, the school bully. You have this. You have, like, homework's not really an issue because it's Peter Parker, but you do have these other little threads going on where it's not like full on, oh look, it's Venom and Sandman and who's the other fucking villain in Spider-Man 3, because there's like 10 of them.
Green Goblin.
Harry's Green Goblin. Yeah. And then when you look at Amazing Spider-Man 2, they did the same thing. They're like, yeah, let's do Rhino, let's do Green Goblin again, let's do fucking Shocker, let's have a Vulture tease, let's have a fucking Doc Ock tease, let's do like 10 villains in one movie once again, where here it doesn't feel like it's shoving it down your throat. Like they happen organically. It does still feel like the biggest problem here, like the biggest antagonist, is Peter Parker's own ability to recognize that he is both a teenager and Spider-Man, and it does a good job. It just doesn't articulate that message for a high schooler. Like, this doesn't seem like something that a pubescent kid is really going to relate to. It's a good piece of entertainment, and it's set in high school, but I still want, maybe we'll get that in Junior Prom, which better fucking be the title. They don't fuck it up. Sony.
And what if they think of one better than yours, Brian?
No, it's Junior Prom. You follow up Homecoming with Junior Prom, and then you do Graduation.
What if it's Sadie Hawkins?
No. Who the fuck cares about a Sadie Hawkins? Like, Sony got Spider-Man to come home. He came home to the Marvel MCU, and then he got to go to a homecoming dance. Junior Prom is just, it's natural.
I did not start this war. I offered you peace. I showed you mercy. But now you're here to finish us off for good.
A much better blockbuster came out this week. And I hesitate to even call it a blockbuster, because it's probably the smallest, tentpole I've ever seen.
No, first off, no. Here's the thing. We are so used to just big tentpole movies that are very big, very loud, very epic. Mm-hmm. And this is just a step back in very classical, very traditional filmmaking. That
Western filmmaking.
I actually no, not Western. This is more like a biblical epic. Like this is a fucking David Lean epic.
I saw this as seriously as like a whatchamacallit, like a John Wayne movie. Like,
no, this is more like a David Lean movie where like he just takes his time, just setting up everything, letting you take in the atmosphere and the mood and just the location itself. Like it's amazing, just like how these shots linger and yet there's so much action going on screen. Like there's so much confidence. Like
you fucking saw this one in 3D, right?
No, I did not.
Ah,
no.
This one is worth the money.
Yeah,
big time. The
sure,
Weta,
like, Dawn of
the
Planet of
Weta
the Apes
effects.
By the way, we're talking about War for the Planet of the Apes.
Well, they got that. They saw the title. No, like this is the first time I've seen any film in the franchise in theaters. Mm-hmm. I'm happy I did this one because last year I might saw Jungle Book in 3D and I was really impressed. This is a whole nother fucking level, man. Like you really,
regardless of how you see it,
especially in 3D, believe these monkeys are real.
Oh,
they don't.
No,
they're
they
not
look incredible.
creatures.
By the way, IMDb is kind of tripping me out because as far as I understood it way back, I heard that this movie was being shot on 65mm film.
No.
And then I look on IMDb now, and I think
digital.
it looks like it's shot on the Alexa instead in 6K.
It's definitely digital. There's no because why would you film something on celluloid?
They did for Rise of the Planet of the Apes. No, and I mean either way, it looks gorgeous. These locations look gorgeous. I saw this projected in 4K. It was incredible. Like this is such a beautiful looking movie.
It's lush.
Yeah, I mean just like the environments that they shoot in. It's not like it. It wasn't on my mind at all that these were CGI characters. Like these are full on characters on screen. They blend so well that you realize afterwards. Oh right, that. For me, that was digital. But I mean, just all these locations, it's just shot in such a beautiful, classic, traditional way. And the fact that people I mean, I was surprised that Planet of the Apes did well. But if people have the patience to sit through something like this, that's incredible.
See, that one is much more of a blockbuster. Like there are big battles going on. You have big action set pieces.
It's the same thing here.
There's a nemesis at hand. Like is it Coda or Koba?
Koba.
The Koba Caesar conflict is huge. Like that it could get a cinema going. Here though, this is mostly an internalized conflict. Like this is it's kind of biblical. Like it kind of reminded me a little bit of Kingdom of Heaven.
It is a biblical epic, yeah.
Like most of the struggle here is just personal. It's grieving. Like it's all on someone's face, or this monkey's face, this fake face, this fucking CGI recreation of what Andy Serkis looks like, and yet without much dialogue. Most of this film is fucking subtitled.
Well, I mean, that was the thing.
60% subtitles.
It was ballsy at the time to open Dawn of the Planet of the Apes the way that they did, because the first 20 minutes of that movie, just apes communicating. That's it. Those are your main characters established, and it's moving pretty slow. And I saw that movie at midnight. It wasn't something that everyone was into, so I thought it was just going to be hated. But and then a human shows up later and people get into it. But this is purely an apes movie.
Now
the
Woody
it's
Harrelson,
a big enough success that they're able to tell that story purely from the apes' point of view. The humans are just as important in the other one, but.
Yeah, in Dawn and Rise,
completely different.
It's especially in Rise, it's it's
Rise
a James Franco picture.
Yeah.
What the fuck
Rise
happened
is a fun
to him?
blockbuster, but yeah.
I love that
James Franco?
they just wrote him out of that franchise or this franchise.
Well, he shows up.
He clearly dies.
There's a moment where it's presumed he dies, but there is a moment where Caesar goes back to his own house in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And he watches a bit of video footage, and he remembers back his times
cam.
with James Franco. Yeah, and it's a really nice moment.
But that was more of they couldn't get him again, and they wrote something in the script to
And apparently James Franco was pissed that they used footage of him and they didn't pay him for it.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
But they set this franchise up so hard with the Frida Pinto casting in particular, because that was the first thing she did after Slumdog Millionaire, that they just went, well, actually, it's about the monkeys.
Well, that's the thing. When Matt Reeves came into the picture, and really, he's got three non-found footage films where I think we really can get a sense of just his style. But
right when he did
Dawn, the first one was Cloverfield.
What was it? No. I mean, not Matt Reeves films. I mean, the Rise. Who directed that?
Rupert. Rupert Everett or Rupert Sanders or somebody I guess is not that big now.
No, I mean Matt Reeves is huge. I mean,
yeah, no, but the guy that
Batman.
did Rise, did this movie called The Escapist with Brian Cox, I think a few years earlier, and then he did The Gambler with Mark Wahlberg.
But no, Matt Reeves. I might not have been excited when they announced him as the director for because he replaced Ben Affleck for the Batman. But after this,
it's like he's going to take his time and just confidently do it.
Oh, they threw away that script. They're rewriting the whole thing. But I seriously would watch paint dry if he shot it. I think it would be riveting.
No, seriously, it's incredible. Like, this is not, ADD. This is not like crazy cuts or anything. It's taken its time, but he's able to block these scenes where there is action happening on screen, and it's always in camera, and you always know where you are and what's going on. I mean, just like right away, that first shot, like so tastefully done, so beautifully done, and just God, like it's incredible that we're still able to make movies this way, or that somebody is still able to kind of cling back to just these classical little just filmmaking touches and pull it off, and we're still able to appreciate it.
More so that we're even having a serious conversation about the finale to a prequel trilogy for a reboot of a 5-flick franchise, which was
Not
adapted from a French
Planet
novel.
Of the fucking Apes,
yeah.
Which can easily be a joke when you're talking about that.
Very, very jokey. But this is a serious franchise now. Like, probably one of the more prestigious, non-superhero movies out there.
And I think it's going to be very underrated in the years to come.
It blows my fucking mind when you really think about, like, okay, the very first film was a serious flick. It's kind of like the first Rocky, okay, where
1968's.
Where it's like
not serious. It was a sci-fi thriller.
It's not campy. Is what I'm saying.
And that came out the same year.
It's not War of the Planet of the Apes. It's not, or Battle of the Planet of the Apes, whatever it's called. It's not Search for Planet of the Apes. Like, it's not those where they get really weird and really zany.
Battle, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where it's like, no, it's Charlton Heston doing a great performance in an iconic film.
I don't know. He
like emotional sequences.
A little bit.
A little bit, but he's also wearing a loincloth.
It's a fun movie, and it's a great movie, but it's you might be giving it a bit too much credit by calling it like great. It's not AFI great.
When you compare that film,
pop culture,
to the rest of the franchise, in particular the Mark Wahlberg one, or Rise, because I'm not a fan of Rise. It's pretty weird. Like, I kind of hate the way that they set up how the monkeys came to be. Like, it's kind of weird.
Rise was really good. Like, I mean, the best thing that Rise had going for it was that Caesar was the main character. It was the James Franco show, but it did end up focusing more on Caesar as it kept going.
It took too long to get to the apes. Like, the first...
Also, I mean, the moment that Caesar actually speaks, it was like one of the best oh shit moments that you could ever have in theaters, where like there's this lame kind of reference to this iconic line from the franchise, and then Caesar speaks his first line, and the audience just gasps when it happens.
Well, they say like "damn dirty apes," right? And then he starts talking,
Tom
like,
Felton just goes like, "Get your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!" And then and then Andy Serkis just gets up and shouts, "No!"
Yeah.
And that's it. Just everyone just
those Alzheimer's drugs really worked. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty big oh shit moment.
I don't know if I would have went out in theaters to see this one, because the T-Mobile ticket was $4, pretty good. We stacked that with this Chase Opera on Atom tickets, so we got 2 3D tickets for opening night. We went for a 10:30 Thursday for $4 combined. $4. No convenience fees, fucking $4. That's to a person. That's unheard of. That's fucking asinine. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it wasn't in 3D, but it was. Even if we didn't have good seats, but we did. And I don't regret not seeing the other ones. Maybe Dawn. Like, I would like to have seen that in theaters, especially in 3D. But this is one of those kind of, like, you had to be there moments, I think. Because, seriously, I don't know what kind of legs this film's going to have, especially competing up against Spider-Man and The Big Sick and Baby Driver. And it's the week before Dunkirk and Valerian. I still don't know if this is going to be
embraced just because
I don't
of
think
the pace
it will.
that it moves at. Yeah.
It's a very serious film. It's foreboding. It's very slow. It's very calculated. there's not conversation really. There's not there's not much going on. Like, oh no, I take that back. There is a lot going on. It just doesn't move quickly. I think the people that like the franchise are going to go, but then they're going to be divided, and their friends might not go the following days. Because
there's enough there though that is accessible. Like once Bad Ape shows up,
Bad Ape is awesome. Steve Zahn is awesome,
and that's just a moment where like he's in it just enough to not be annoying, but to also just be funny. Like
he's great comic relief.
He's a great character,
and he's a good character.
People laugh at every single moment that he has. He steals every scene. He's that just light little force that the movie needs as it's going on.
And he's introduced at a really good time too. It's about halfway through, right when like it seems like all hope is lost.
Yeah.
But I think like the major problem that this film has, where the longer this franchise has gone on, or at least the prequel trilogy, reboot prequel trilogy, whatever you want to call it, the Planet of the Apes 2.0, 3.0, is that it started off with humans, it became about monkeys, and then with this one, it's all about the monkeys. And there's like some really interesting, especially imagery that happens here in terms of their like exodus and how just the virus evolves and like several other things, especially just in like the opening titles, the way on screen they use like the name of the other films in the franchise. In just like a quick little blurb to really articulate where we are now and why, where it's like, oh, you don't even need the other films. Like, even with the way the flashbacks work, it's done so well.
That is the thing here is like, I think that Rise and Dawn are great standalone films. Like, you could watch Dawn and not have to watch Rise. Like, that little prelude that they have, which isn't really a title sequence, but really kind of gets you up to speed, is so well done. This movie, it feels like a Chapter 3. Like, it's a very, very good
end
Chapter
of a trilogy,
3. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. This feels like it not a standalone. It's part of a trilogy, and I mean, it's not the weakest. It's the second best in the franchise, but
I think it's the best in the franchise.
I think this is the best. No, Dawn is so much better. Like, I think there's good things here, like as far as Caesar's inner conflict, but there's, I don't want to blame the trailer for this, but the trailer does sort of, introduce
it sells
this little girl
in a very,
character, and that's a dynamic I was really looking forward to.
It's not even just that.
It doesn't really use it, though. It ends up being nothing but a glorified reference and a pretty important plot point, a very tastily put together one, but it's just like...
The way they teased Woody Harrelson's character, and also just his casting, made it seem like he was going to be... what's his name in the second film? The guy that played John Connors. Oh, no, Gary Oldman was the bad guy. I'm thinking about the good guy.
Oh, you're talking about Jason Clarke?
Yeah, Jason Clarke.
No, he was not going to be the good guy.
Well, whatever. I was still expecting like a human character that's very pivotal to the plot, who's in a lot of the scenes, and instead you get Woody Harrelson, who's kind of just like scenery. He adds a little bit. He has a
great like presence. Though.
Oh yeah, great presence.
Standing there,
he's menacing,
just looking dangerous. Yeah,
but like, okay, the scene when he's shaving his head in front of his battalion. Great, like Mad Max level of great, But at the same time, he's really unimportant. Like he's just there as like this opposing force that they have to maneuver.
It's kind of like
around.
What I like about this and about Dawn, like even Koba to some extent, is that they're not just simple villains. Like you are able to sympathize with them, and where they're coming from, even though you're not going to side with them in the story.
That's also partially because they themselves articulate their presence. Like they explain, and then they explain to other characters exactly why they're doing what they're doing, which is something
that's where it's kind of weaker here, is that Woody Harrelson has to explain it in exposition. Like Koba, exactly how he ended up the way he was.
Well, that's also because he was in the first movie, and you live through him through Rise, and then in Dawn you get
but I mean Dawn specifically, he's questioning things, and he has justified cause for it.
And then the way that those same questions are raised again here, it really cements this seriously as like one of the best trilogies ever made, like probably in the top 10.
And it's really going to be, I think it's going to be forgotten.
The franchise is probably going to be forgotten.
Was not like, it didn't take long for people to stop talking about Planet of the Apes.
It's one of those weird Fox franchises that for some reason always kind of just shows up spottedly. Like I don't think that they're
these are
going...
not coming out like every year, every other year. It's been 3 years in between. They're taking their time.
I don't think they're going to make a sequel to this. I think what they're going to do instead...
They've been alluding to it, that if it does well, they got stuff that they could do.
I
but
don't want
not.
a sequel. What I would prefer instead is a sequel, maybe by Tim Burton, to the Mark Wahlberg movie. Which sounds fucking stupid, but hear me out. Like I said, this is the prequel
I wouldn't
trilogy.
Even know how to respond, because
you haven't seen it. But this is the prequel trilogy to that film. And that film is not a remake of the original. Instead, it is a whole different timeline with the same premise. And so the way that, like, without spoiling it, instead of, Charlton Heston on the beach realizing that this fucked up planet used to be the Earth that he's from, you get a completely different ending to the Tim Burton one. Okay? And that ending is what this franchise that they're making here, this trilogy, is leading up to. Like, the virus, especially in this one, really sets the tone for that movie. And I know Tim Burton's busy between Dumbo and, like, whatever else he's doing, whatever fucking weird Disney movies else he's making. But seriously, like, if Fox in 3 or 4 years wants to make a sequel to that film with Mark Wahlberg, I think we will go for it. Like, if they sold it the right way, if you somehow, like, I don't know, I think it's the only way that they could continue the franchise outside of doing a fresh reboot, which I don't think anyone would go for. That's how you alienate all of the fans that you've made along this historic journey. Because if you look at reboot franchises that are successful, you have the Christopher Nolan Batman, you have this, and, like, maybe Mad Max Fury Road. But that's a standalone. That's not a franchise yet, even if Furiosa is, like, going to happen. Like, I can't think of any others. Like, it's really this and Batman. Like, these are the two that proclaimed, oh, you can totally do this. You can reboot a franchise, you can make it serious, and you can make it better than the films that came out before it. Like, they are the reasons why people are still going for the reboots. But, I don't know. I'm going to buy this one for $1, even though I don't think it's at all what anyone who likes these movies thought it or thinks it's going to be. It completely goes against the grain, but I think that's what I like about it. That it truly, truly swings for the fences in a very nuanced, epic way, despite it featuring really, like, only 5 characters. Like, it's Caesar, it's this little girl, it's the Woody Harrelson character, and then, like, Bad Ape and a couple other accomplices that follow Caesar on this journey. Like, it's an interesting movie. It's one of the more peculiar things I've gone out to see in theaters in quite some time. Like, I didn't see it for the reason that most people go to the movies. I just wanted something to do, and I was really impressed. Like, truly so, to the point where this one could be nominated for Best Picture in a weird
this
way.
This is just, like, very, very, like, skilled, like, just true filmmaking. Like,
yeah.
I don't know which. It's a stupid combination of words, like, because then that makes everything. I don't know if this is true filmmaking. Then what's everything else? Is it not?
No, I agree.
But I mean, it's like, just wow, like,
it doesn't need
the effort that's put into every frame here, and not even just, like, in composition, but, like, details, like. Just those freaking green laser beams in that siege. Like,
I wish,
like, just those little things, like, that lead to this effect in these details and the props, and, like,
that was
how
one
everything
of the
is utilized, and just, like,
in this film that should have been
such a cool effect that I'm just like, it's so simple, and it ends up being everything in the moment that just makes this work. It doesn't have to be overloaded with a bunch of shit to look cool. Like, it's so quiet and confident and just so grand in its scale, and, like, we just don't get movies made like this anymore.
Those green laser
it's
beams.
Amazing that it can be on this scale with a property like this, and that a studio will allow this to happen to a major property of theirs that's profitable. Like,
those laser
just
beams.
On a filmmaking level, this is not my favorite in the series, but wow, like, this is technically amazing. Like, I mean, honestly, like, how I was gushing about The Revenant when that came out. This is like The Revenant for that series, for this series. It's just wow.
This movie's too smart for its audience, flat out. It really is.
I really don't know if they're going to embrace it.
No,
I'm curious.
I don't really understand who the Ape fans are in the first place, because it is a weird franchise. It truly, truly is one of the more peculiar.
Yeah, but then again, people loved Dawn of the Planet of the Apes as well, and I was impressed. I was glad that they could get into that, because that is also a slow-moving movie. It's just this is now a step further into that style.
It's like, because this franchise has had 3 separate generations of fans, it's hard to tell if the fans from the original like the latter 2, if the Tim Burton fans, if there are any, like this one, or if the people that watch this, the true goers, have even seen any of the other films at all. Like it is a weird one. When it comes to Batman,
the beauty of it though is that
it
they
really
do at
is
least
beautiful.
get you up to speed right at the beginning.
When it comes to Batman, it's like you can assume that every Batman fan's seen every Batman movie, you know? But with this
it's the
franchise,
same deal with Spider-Man: Homecoming. Enough people know the origin
like,
at that point.
You've seen, that's why there is no origin
and even
story.
then, it's like, I probably went years, or at least when I was a little kid and I was watching the Batman cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I was educated on the backstory right away. Like, you can just watch that stuff and know who the figure is and what they do and still get into it without knowing their backstory necessarily. So, wow, with Batman, that's a different thing. But this...
It's very different. It's just... Yeah. If you like smart movies, if you like think pieces, if you like spectacles, but not for the sake of being one, where there's wall-to-wall ammunition and collateral damage and people saying fuck and cars exploding, no, this is a very nuanced movie. This is a very smart movie. It's downtrodden and morose a little bit. It's very contemplative. I haven't seen it, but I'm sure that The Last Temptation of Christ is a little reminiscent of this film, or the other way around, where this is a tortured soul. This is an aging hero, almost godlike figure to his tribe, who is going on this epic journey, trying to find himself and also a group of characters. And just the way it ends, where you get this final moment, this final beautiful moment that really cements not the importance of
Michael
the characters.
Giacchino's score here too, which I mean, in that moment brought back a small tune that I loved in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, but just that score, it's just a very, very simple, minimal score that is quiet enough and yet just super effective, and it is packed with such emotion that's just is unlike anything that I've heard in any other blockbuster. It's so good.
Damn dirty apes make damn good movies. See this one. I think if you're listening still, that you're gonna like it.
It's a buy for me, I think.
Yeah, it's a buy. It's a really.
I
really
might have
solid.
a few more negative things to say about it if I didn't want to spoil it, but still, there's no other tentpole that's going to be like this summer.
It's
it really is kind of a miracle it got made this way.
That's the thing though. It's a tentpole because it's a franchise, because it's part of a successful franchise, but it isn't a tentpole in name. In terms of what is put on the page, or better yet, the screen, how this film is just not just created but kind of assembled doesn't represent that term at all. This is just, it's a good movie that's part of a bigger whole, and that doesn't happen. People try to make that happen, especially this year too. If you look at something like Logan, where or Wonder Woman, even to a lesser extent, where it's oh yeah, this is a good movie, but oh yeah, it's also a successful IP and it's a superhero movie, and it's these things too. But Logan tries really hard to do that. There was a level of success that the audience demanded. They needed that kind of movie. Whereas this audience does not need this film, and Fox made it anyway. These are the people that lost Star Wars and haven't put out an Avatar film for a decade, and they allowed their last bastion besides X-Men to go in this direction, to potentially end the franchise, at least for now. And
just another thing, by the way,
something
that Fox never ever does.
Mm-hmm.
Fox does not do custom logos. When they do, it's very rare. What they do here is so cool.
I don't remember. It wasn't a regular Searchlight?
It was music. The music.
I don't remember the music.
Over the logo? Really? You don't? Like, it was a customized, like, it had the Fox tune, but it was customized to sort of Apes instruments.
I must have missed that.
Really?
Yeah. Because I got to the theater.
So cool.
I got to the theater early. Like, we watched, like, the 20 minutes of trailers and stuff, and, yeah, I must have just kind of... Once I got my glasses on, it probably. Well, also the other thing too, like I went, I was like,
just the sound. Like the logo itself was the same, but like the track in the background, it was not the standard Fox fanfare.
Baby Driver was playing next door, and so I cut out to go in there and watch a little bit of the opening car chase, and then I caught about half of the blocked music video at the beginning too. So I think I might have been a little too yeah, I didn't miss anything of Apes, but I think I low-key wanted to watch Baby Driver again instead, which I still think I'm gonna do. Like, out of the 3 films here, the one that I'm most likely going to see again in theaters is none of them. It's Baby Driver. Like, I still want to see that again. I want to see it with my girlfriend. Like, I missed the chance to make that a date movie, and it is created, like, its virtue is to be that and only that. This is the part where we've been talking for so long that we need a water break, and instead of just drinking water, we're going to try to sell you something. And what we're going to sell you this time is Letterboxd. It's the app. Or not even just the app, because the app is only for patrons like Steve, but it's the film website that chronicles everything you see. It's a film diary. It's like Yelp for movies. It's a lot of different things, and it's spelled almost the way you think it is. It's LETTERBOXD.com.
And I just want to say real quick, I know the app was an exclusive thing like 2 years ago for patrons. I think it's available, though, everywhere now. Because it was in beta for patrons at that time.
I could check. I'm not sure. I just use the website. I mean, I like its layout. It's awesome. We've been talking about it since we've been doing the podcast together. It's kind of like our home base. Our website is really just the landing pad for our content. But if you're curious what either Steve or I watch when we're not doing reviews, and we're going to be talking about that stuff in just a second when this review or ad for Letterboxd is over, you can see it there. It literally every movie I've pretty much ever seen, all 3,000 plus of them, they're logged, and they're not just logged what day I saw them, if it was a rewatch, if I saw it in theaters, if I saw it as a date, if I saw it in 3D, if I saw it on 35 millimeter, or if I just saw it at home. You can also see, if I write a little synopsis, or not synopsis, but a review. Maybe I just have like some kind of quip to write about it. Maybe I write nothing at all, and I just write have a star rating. But you can make lists. You can share lists with people. You can do so much with it. It is a really, really great tool. When what's it called? Seismonic, I believe it's Cinemonic, something like that. The people behind Racher Music are rebranding. They have 3 sites coming out. One is for music, one's for movies, and one's for video games. I'm going to try those out. I think the beta's launched later this month. I'm going to see what that's like, but I doubt I'm going to abandon Letterboxd. Partially because of the name, partially because of the community, and then also
just because you got way too much put into it
already. I'm not going to fucking abandon it and do another one. We'll probably do the video game one, though. I think it's called Glitch Wave. Good name, because I would like some way to, because I have like a way to document almost most things I do. I have an audio scrobbler in Last.fm where you can see my real-time listening habits all the way since 2006. I have Letterboxd for movies. I have like spreadsheets and Excel documents for like my movies and video games and stuff collections. And I have like other little ways to just act as a diary on the internet that's public facing, so anyone, especially myself, can go and like, well, in July 2015, what was I watching that month? What did I like back then? What was my top 10 for that year? And it's very natural and very easy, and it's also a very pretty site at that. Like I said, this is free for them. This is just an ad. I didn't talk about it at the top during Patreon, but one of the things that we offer are ads for anything. It could be a restaurant, it could be your business, it could be your website. And if you pay us, and the rates are going to change, or maybe you want to reach out to us and like customize something, maybe you throw something our way and we'll do an ad for you. We're very malleable. You can talk to us and we'll talk back and we'll talk at you. But that's just one, and we got another one in a second. Did you check anything out this week?
Well, what are we doing about
past
Okja?
2 weeks? I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, should I hold off on that?
Yeah, so hold on. We can review that next week.
All right.
Because I'm pretty sure I'm seeing Dunkirk. Hopefully on Thursday.
I have a ticket for Dunkirk.
I need to get a ticket.
I'm planning on seeing it, but I have no idea if I'll be able to. So hopefully that'll work out. But
I found out yesterday or 2 days ago that Ashley wants to see Valerian. It sounds like more than I do. Like she's not even.
I really want to see it. It's just I don't think I'll be seeing it opening weekend.
Yeah, I talked in passing about La Femme Nikita with her, and it looks like she's too tired to come over because hey, she just got off work, which must suck. But we haven't really talked about Luc Besson. And so I'm not, we saw the trailer for Valerian the other night, and I'd already seen it so many times that I kind of, didn't look at it because I'm over it. But she was like, yeah, I really want to see that. We're going to see that one. I was like, fuck. And I was like, this is, of course, someone who goes to Comic-Con, every year, so it kind of makes sense. It's definitely targeted. She's the target demographic, you know? Mm-hmm. But yeah, she's not going to be home that weekend, so I'm going to go see Dunkirk. And I don't know who I'm going to see it with, but of course it's going to be a 70mm ticket. And I should probably buy that today, unless it's sold out, and then I can't buy it. But yeah, we'll save Okja for that. We'll do a twofer. But what else did you see besides that Netflix title?
As far as something that was recent, I saw The Exception, which is an A24 flick that I didn't even know about. And I guess it's because they aren't pimping it out that hard. But yeah, it's a World War II flick. I think the main headliner was Christopher Plummer. That's all I knew going in. Things that I didn't know that I discovered while I was watching the movie. This is a romance set in World War II. You know who the two leads are?
Christopher Plummer and... No.
No. Christopher Plummer plays Kaiser Wilhelm, which is interesting. Because, basically the ruler of Germany in World War I in a World War II setting. There's a lot going on there. But the two love interests there, Lily James, who plays
Ansel
a Jew.
Elgort.
No, and get this. In a role that is good, Jai Courtney.
He's good in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, he's good in Suicide Squad in the sense that, first off, he is kind of there, but not really. I still think that for Suicide Squad, it's more like...
Oi!
Well,
I'm Australian. I got a boomerang.
There's nothing wrong with Jai Courtney in particular, other than he just really doesn't have any charisma. Kind of just a guy that's there to stand and be good looking. And then when it comes to Suicide Squad, I have this theory where he just went there ready to work, and then David Ayer was just like, "Here, Jai, have some cocaine before we shoot," and that's what you get in Suicide Squad. But
seeing Suicide Squad, I went, Jai Courtney might be a better Mad Max than Tom Hardy. That's kind of the idea that was flowing through my head. I was like, man, I would love to see Fury Road with that fucker hanging in front of a car.
Well, he plays a Nazi Third Reich officer in The Exception, and as far as it's not like an amazing World War II movie, but basically what the plot is that Jai Courtney is a captain, and he's supposed to look after the Kaiser, who is...
Except there's this one Jew that he falls in love with.
He's looking after the Kaiser,
who
basically... Yeah, you kind of get the idea there, and he has to protect her, and...
Yeah.
But yeah, basically this is all set in the home of the Kaiser, who's basically getting, protection, but it could be blown at any second, and it is interesting... as far as it being a World War II movie, that I don't think... I'm sure that there's some like this that do exist, but this is about a Germany that is in the middle of an identity crisis. And, you have those World War II ideologies kind of conflicted with World War I. And we touched on World War I a little bit when we did, what was it, Joyeux Noël? And, just of how,
Also, Game of Life and Death, or whatever that was called. And
A Matter of Life and Death is World War II. But... that's the thing is with World War I, just something that what makes it very different from World War II is that was just basically about imperialism. It wasn't about ideology. World War II is
we did World War with the Wonder Woman is World War II. No, it's World War I. Yeah. Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it was World War I. But it's interesting seeing how that's clashed and just how the morals are different. And because really, the Nazis are just the embodiment of pretty much just pure evil and of just trying to purify the world as they see fit. And it's seeing that, I guess, just in some ways juxtaposed on film is nice. But yes, the movie is very sentimental, but it does create really good drama and really good tension from these situations, and it's a really solid movie overall. And A24 put it out, which is a distributor I love to pimp out because I tend to love almost everything they do, or at least like it on some level. Man, they're kicking ass, and this is one of the lower profile ones that came out that really just under the radar. I don't even think it got that big a release. Like DirecTV is also a distributor on this.
Yeah, so it's one of those.
Yeah. So it'll be on Amazon. Still a really solid movie. What else? I saw this this French animated movie called Kirikou and the Sorceress, which really like a really nice find actually. It's based off these African folk tales, and basically what it is that there's this witch that terrorizes this village, and then one day this baby is born, Kirikou, who's basically a superhero. Like right when he's born, he starts fucking changing shit around the town, cleaning shit up, and defies the sorceress. But he's basically this innocent kid that's wondering.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I got Kubo and the Two Strings on 3D this week.
They are similar, and yet I did not like Kubo. I might have to give it another shot, but Kubo. Well, I think Kubo also pissed me off, like for other reasons, like for I guess just praise that I didn't get. Like people like think it's a beautiful looking movie and a big accomplishment in stop motion, and I just see that and I'm like, I can't appreciate the hard work put into the hands and designing it in stop motion when it feels really smooth, and I see digital enhancements the whole time. It's just, I get that it's blended in, but it's just so much more difficult for me to appreciate it.
Well, I mean,
that's part of it, and the narrative of that is just sloppy, and then when it comes to a certain reveal there, I really didn't buy it, even though I appreciate the final message that the movie ended on. I just wasn't a fan of how it was explored.
The Prime Day price was too hard to beat. It was like $17, 3D Blu-ray plus digital copy. It was like,
hey, well, I got a Monster Calls for Prime Day, so I'm happy with that.
I got a lot on Prime Day, but that was like the only. No, I fucking went like this whole week, not because of Prime Day, just like the way it landed or whatever. Like between going to the theaters, fucking 3 times really, and then Prime Day and then shopping. I bought 5 pairs of shoes this week. So many movies. I'll be talking about that a little bit later, but so much fucking shopping.
Kirikou and the Sorceress, I mean, it's just, it is basically about this kid who, while he's going around and being awesome and saving the day, is questioning things, just what the norms of why, also just what it is that he's going up against, and really just trying to understand more, trying to not see things like they're black and white. It's very short. It's just a really fun watch. It's a good way to spend 70 minutes and see a different piece of animation that you just don't see that often. It's not on a streaming platform. I rented it, but this is a total buy. I had a lot of fun watching this one. And I guess I don't know what to end on. I went to the Paramount Theater in Austin. They have a summer film series, which I saw a ton of stuff there last summer, and I have not been good at catching up on what they have now, but I had the night off, so I went to a double feature of the Palm Beach Story and the Philadelphia Story. So, I guess it was a screwball comedy night. And Palm Beach Story is a lot of fun, but I know you saw the Philadelphia Story, and I guess, I mean, just because I know that you're not that big on it, and I had seen it, but I don't remember it, and I guess I'm there with you.
As much as I like Cary Grant, as much as I like Jimmy Stewart, there's something that is fucked up about the movie. Because of Katharine Hepburn.
Here's the thing, is Jimmy Stewart, by the way, is great in the movie. Mm-hmm. He won the Oscar for that movie. In fact, it's funny the way that I guess his story was. He was asked about how he felt when he won the Oscar, and he said, "Well, I voted for Henry Fonda in Grapes of Wrath." So, which I guess it was a sympathy vote because he didn't get it for Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Mm-hmm. But it's weird because. Everyone is great in the movie. The movie is funny. When you watch that movie with a crowd, you are laughing. But
I don't like the way that Katharine Hepburn is jerking off both these guys.
Well, it's not just that. It's I can't really connect with anything, and the premise is really not that fun.
If I remember correctly,
a rich woman is getting married, and Cary Grant's her ex-husband, and he's bringing in these 2 reporters to just invade, and like it's based off this famous play. But
if I remember correctly, the reporters fall in love, and then the exes get back together, and then they're all happy together.
Yeah, something like that. Like and then it's funny just seeing that juxtaposed with a Palm Beach Story, which I guess the similarity is that they're both screwball comedies,
Howard Hawks,
and they
right?
have story. No, not Palm Beach.
No, I mean Philadelphia Stories. Howard Hawks.
No, it's George Cukor.
They all
Preston Sturges did Palm Beach Story, which is far more insane. But what Palm Beach Story is about, and I guess I'm cheating by doing two movies here, but Palm Beach Story is basically about this couple that, they get married and they think they're gonna have a great time, and it starts off with like this wedding montage of like, oh, it's gonna be amazing, but then sure enough they get a divorce, or one of them wants to get a divorce because their lives are just not working that great financially. And one of them, the wife ends up finding this rich dude, and the husband's trying to get her back, and the whole situation gets complicated and it gets crazy. But the thing is, there's more fun, and like just the punchline that movie ends on, I think, is great. Philadelphia Story is just it's rich people bitching, really, or it's kind of just Katharine Hepburn like. Just I guess melting down. Like there really isn't much of a story in there, because like when that movie ends, it's not really like it earns the we can't spoil it, but yeah, I just don't feel like it earned the ending organically. It's a happy ending, I guess it's supposed to be, but Philadelphia Story is funny to watch with a crowd. That's the best I will give it, but it's definitely a dime a dozen. So, yeah, I don't think it holds up as one of the Hollywood greats, though, even though there are a lot of great laughs to be had.
I don't think I love Jimmy Stewart enough to revisit Philadelphia Story anytime soon. I remember watching
it's funny because he is great in that movie. Like, he has
that may be, but
the best lines in that movie, too.
Same difference between, fucking Harvey. Like, there might be a real good message there, but seeing old man Jimmy Stewart kind of basically being laughed at.
You're the one
that
doesn't really like Harvey that much, huh?
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of Harvey. I
love that movie.
It's a great story, or not story, but it's a great message. I really love the message, but just the way it's painted, if you take Jimmy Stewart out of the picture, where it's like there's this kind of like creepy old man who's still kind of naive and young at heart, who only really has one person in his life, and it's an imaginary.
Well, no, it's that he's a drunk. It's that he's always out drinking.
I don't remember that.
Look at him
shit.
like he's nuts.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
at all.
Because he's always going to bars, and he's like, "Oh, me and Harvey, we go out drinking all the time, and then we sit
drinks.
here and we make friends." Yeah, like it's just That's how it's painted. Is that he seems like this drunk that's just
he's not
crazy.
drunk though. No. It's more like he's still.
No, Harvey. He's always going to bars.
Yeah, Harvey is. He's not Harvey. Harvey's the one that drinks. If I remember correctly.
No, I'm saying he goes to bars. Like that's how he's painted.
But
that's
he doesn't.
How the world. That's how people see him in the movie.
Yeah, but he doesn't. Drink.
I know what you're getting at.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's
what
it is. Like that's
Weird
how
movie.
they label it. Whatever. What else did you watch?
I only watched a couple things. I've been so busy because I've just been going to the theater so much. So like when you go on so many dates to the cinema, when you stay home, you don't really want to go to the home box office.
Yeah.
And so we'll watch some of this or there, but the only real two things that I checked out since our last episode, I watched this Duplass Brothers short, their first one actually, or like the first one that matters, called This Is John, which you can find on YouTube. It's about 10 minutes long, and this is the thing they made that got them into Sundance first. It is what caused them to get the funding to make the puffy chair. So if you think that is fucking mumblecore, this is even less than that. This is literally, the budget was buying the cassette tape to record it on, a high 8 or mini DV probably, and that's it. It's one character. It is just Mark Duplass, and it's him talking to himself. It has a really great setup. It's him coming home from work and recording a new answering machine message. That is it. And yet for these like 9 or 10 minutes, even though it's like really their first film, and I watched this interview too where the Duplass brothers were talking about just their careers up until this point, because they also moved to Austin, Texas, like you did, and they're going to the Paramount, and they're attending South by Southwest, and they were there at the time that like Slacker came out, and they just got inspired like everyone else did of that era, and even us still, and it's part of the why the podcast exists, that they were trying really hard to get like a big crew together of kind of successful people to make the films that they think people wanted to make or wanted to see, and it was shit, and they've never shown it to people, and it probably got thrown away. And then they made this one thing where it's just Jay directing Mark. They came up with the concept and there's no script. And it's just very human. It's both funny and sad at the same time. And that's all I really want to say about it. Like I said, it's like 9 minutes. If you like Cyrus or Jeff Who Lives at Home, The Puffy Chair, Animals, Togetherness, or you're excited about, what is it called, Room 44, which is coming to HBO soon. If you like any of their material, or even just the stuff that they appear in, like Transparent, or things that they produce too, because they really do have like a big umbrella of collaborators and things that they're in, especially like looking at The League or like BlackRock or things that even Katie Aselton is involved in, that there's a lot to talk about. And I think it all starts here. This is where they really started. Like, you can see a little bit of Joe Swanberg in here too. It's like one of those deep cuts, one of the necessary subjects in the like Mumblecore just library that is probably one of the better ones. I would love to see this in a theater with the crowd. Like, I can't imagine what that Sundance was like. And like you said, the interview that I saw, this is like a little like 9 to 10 minute short that costs like $5 to make, and it went up against like something that had like a $50,000 budget with like an Academy Award winning actor in it, and yet they won Best of Show. Like, they won the audience award, they got the careers, they're the name, and you don't even know the name of the project that they went up against, type of idea. So yeah, I'll buy this one for $1. Really short, really interesting, and just really human, more so than probably anything else of theirs that I've seen outside of Jeff Who Lives at Home. But that's all because you have like an hour and a half to sit with these characters and get to know them, and there's lots of beats going on and great acting, and this is just let me talk in front of the camera. We don't even have a wardrobe department. I'm just wearing clothes. But really interesting. It's the kind of film that people are still trying to make, and it's also a film that people can make. All you need is your smartphone, and you need a good idea. That's it.
Yeah. So
yeah, check that one out. Like I said, it's called This Is John. You can find it on YouTube. The other thing is something that I didn't want to see. Ashley, once again, I took her because I find myself driving her car a lot. We went to the New Bev to catch Videodrome.
That's right.
They're doing a big... They're playing a lot of Verhoeven right now. They're also playing a lot of Cronenberg, two of my favorite directors, so hey, kind of cool. The only problem is, A, the Cronenberg that they're playing aren't my favorites, and B, the Verhoeven stuff that they're playing, no, there's nothing wrong with that one. It's more so that she wanted to see this. Like, when we went to go see RoboCop, they showed like a trailer for it or whatever. It was on the calendar, and we talked about it in passing. She was like, "Oh yeah, I'd like to see Videodrome." I was like, "Oh, have you seen it?" She was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, I've seen it too." And then it turned into "Oh, do you want to go still?" And she went, "Yeah, I do. I'm gonna buy the tickets." And so I drive there, and I'm tired, and I see the movie, and just like the first time I saw it 10 years ago, I was just sitting there going, "What the fuck is this? What am I watching? Why am I watching this?"
Something awesome.
I don't think it's bad. I
thought Videodrome was great when I saw it, but I haven't seen it in like 10 years.
No,
so.
It's...
Hey, long live the new flesh. So.
I guess, James Woods is... I wrote a review on Letterboxd. I don't regret the experience, getting to see it in a theater on 35 with a girlfriend that wanted to see it, real interesting. Getting to see Cronenberg alone, like one of his more acclaimed films at that, because I own A History of Violence and The Fly and fucking Eastern Promises. I own his more acclaimed titles. But I would have preferred to have gone to see The Fly, even though we just did that for Dead to Cinema. Or better yet, they also if they had Existence or fucking something out there, like Crash, like Madam M. Butterfly, even though I don't really like that one. Dead Ringers, if they had something more less obvious of a choice, I guess I could say. It's like they're playing Scanners, Videodrome, and The Fly. It's like, yeah, they're playing the fucking, of course, I'm a film snob, I want to go see that in the theater films. I'm not big on those, like, besides The Fly. Like, I understand their place in both Canadian filmmaking, body horror, independent filmmaking, and then also just, like, gore. But at the same time, I like his smarter films. I like the more rounded scripts, things that aren't left open for interpretation, but rather, like, you know, something that try to make you change the way you see, because it still has a great message about media and its role in society and the consumer-driven, like, existence and stuff, but it doesn't hold up that well, given that the whole film is about video and VHS, when that doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah, but it's still, the idea of it, though, is timeless.
It's a good idea. I love the way it starts. I love the way it gets going. I just hate the way it ends, which is exactly the same way I feel about Scanners. I just don't care for Scanners.
It's how it's done in execution that I still find interesting, which I don't want to spoil it, but like how it shows you the ending before the ending. I love how
it's an interesting thing. Like it does that a couple times in the movie.
It definitely burns an impression on you of like, wow, you can do that, and it works for that movie.
It's not the only movie that does that though. Like look at something like Spaceballs or I think the Scary Movie 2 do that. I don't know. There's a couple of films that do that.
Spaceballs
does it.
I don't know. It's does it? Because like, I remember there's moments where it's like it's fast forwarding and then they're like go back.
They literally Darth Helmet goes, where did Lone Star go? Oh, I know, boss. Why don't we grab the Spaceballs video cassette?
No, they didn't go to the ending, but they were just like, let's see where he is now.
But they have that sequence where we're like, where are we now? We're here.
It's a funny moment.
Here now. Where? Here now. We're not. Why aren't we there now?
And they're just like, they're looking at the screen, and it's like a screen within a screen at that exact moment.
Just brilliant filmmaking by Mel Brooks there. But, you know, that came out like the same exact time, and then right after Videodrome, the same year as Videodrome, The Fly was made, which, hey, was produced by Mel Brooks, but you can hear us talk in depth about that on Debt to Cinema, that's why it's there. But talking about video, you know, I might not be a fan of Videodrome, and it's a silver dollar, just not my favorite movie. I bought a lot of movies since our last episode. I'm like, you know, I generally have like, oh yeah, I bought like 10 movies. I bought 20 movies. Here's a list of them. No, I bought way too many to even mention all of them. The DVDs, you can go on my Instagram, instagram.com/Brian Gillis. That's BRYONGILLIS. There's a video where I literally dump a bag of DVDs because there's so many of them. I can look at some of them right here, just the ones that I haven't seen. I got like Dark Water, the Amityville Horror, Gothica. I got Orphan.
If I remember right, you say in the video too, this might be getting out of hand.
It is getting out of hand. I got fucking American in Paris. I got a couple others, and then I went because they're $1. They're 10 for $1. And then I went to like the regular Goodwill, and I got like Swingers and Love and Basketball, Evil Dead. Like, you know, I got some things. That same week, I also went to a video store from my neighborhood that went out of business, so I bought some things off their hand. I bought Punch Drunk Love and like Secrets of Arati, or whatever you fucking pronounce that Studio Ghibli film, and I got Nine Lives. And I in buying Nine Lives that day, I was like, I kind of want to buy every single Debt to Cinema we're ever going to do now, just because for the sake of doing it, because I already own like 15, and I was like, well, why not? And so, like, you know, I bought, you know, a fair share of like video games and lots of stuff thrifting this week. Like I said, I bought like 5 pairs of shoes, and I got a good amount of video games, and I bought a fanny pack finally, so I have a man purse, among other things. But the real thing, the real find that I got this week, the true deal, was I was at the Goodwill, and I found a box. Usually I have to dive for my movies, literally so, where I'm really searching for some good movies. I found a box, and the box was full of VHS tapes, and every one of them pretty much is a must-have, and I got the whole box. I know I sent you a picture of this, I tweeted out a picture of this on Dollar Views, and I also Instagrammed it from my personal account. These are like must-have videos from the 80s and 90s. I got a copy of The Fly. I have 2 now. I have VHS and Blu-ray, so I never need another one. I got fucking
You can
Austin.
send me the VHS. I'll take it.
No, I'm not gonna give it to you.
Are you even gonna watch it?
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm gonna probably watch all of these. Like I didn't before I bought this box. I had a couple, and I was buying them like jokingly. Like I already had 16
you have
candles.
A tube TV set up too for
Yep.
that, don't you?
Yep.
You're gonna
like
do it that way.
Yes, of course. That's where the VCR is set up to this TV. Like I was buying them in passing. Like I was buying like Disney ones. I was buying like Three Musketeers and Pete's Dragon and like Atlantis and like they're just Disney movies that my mom doesn't have that I kind of want, but I didn't really want, but I just like couldn't resist like the pricing.
It's funny because actually I didn't talk about this because I ended up talking about something else because there's not much to talk about. But I bought a VHS of Angels in the Outfield.
I have that.
Like
I bought that recently
a while ago, and I logged down Letterboxd and I watched that for the first time. It's a fun movie.
Oh, it's a great movie,
and it was
and
fitting
it's a remake.
to watch it that way because
it's a remake.
Yeah,
it's one of those. Hey, look, they make good remake movies. But this fucking
it's
box,
true.
man.
Which I don't know, not quite a Debt to Cinema pick, but hey, I thought it was fun.
There's an unopened VHS copy of Hoop Dreams in this box. It still has the plastic wrap on it. I'm never gonna open this thing. You know how much money I can probably get for this? Like, I'm surprised. This is the full movie. It's one tape. It's 176 minutes. How the fuck did they fit that on one cassette? I have the right stuff here.
I thought it was like over 200 minutes. I thought it was like 3.5 hours long.
Oh, whatever. Maybe they cut it a little bit. I have the right stuff here. This is a two-taper, okay? How long is this thing? I don't even see the time on here because it's like 1,000,000 hours.
Well,
this is
100.
100.
It's compressed. I mean, that movie was shot on video, so it's not going to look.
Yeah,
sexy.
this is 193 minutes. I haven't seen this whole thing. I tried to watch it in a class. Did we watch the whole thing? No, yeah, I did watch the whole thing. We didn't watch all of JFK. So I've seen this. This thing is long as hell. It's about how the space race began. It's taking like fast flyers and literally taking them not into space, but into the stratosphere. Real interesting. But I could like list off all these movies. Like I said, I got 16 Candles right here. I got The Breakfast Club. That's funny because I already bought a copy of the 16 Candles earlier this week on VHS. And then the day after I bought this box, I went back and they had also 16 Candles Breakfast Club, and I was going to buy them again just to sell them, but that was before I decided that I was going to start selling things. So I teased it at the beginning of the show, and I'm going to launch it in the next couple of days. I'm going to create something called probably dollar deals, where I sell clothes and movies and music and video games and anything that I find, because, you know, we might have some Patreon supporters, I might have a job, but I don't quite make the money that I feel I deserve. But this box, I'm probably not selling anything in this box. I got Aliens. I got The Firm. I got Ghost. I got fucking Beverly Hills Cop, Die Hard with a Vengeance. I got Lethal Weapon 1 and 3, Major League, Halloween. Like I said, I got Apocalypse Now. I got The Fly, I got Hoop Dreams, I got Pretty Woman. You know, I got some good movies. I got The X-Files, the original movie.
So I don't know if I missed the price, but how much did you say the box was?
The Road
again?
Warrior. I got Real Genius, which is like one of my favorite 80s movies that I've always wanted to own, and I didn't. I got even like fucking City of Angels, okay? I got so many. I paid $3 for a little box.
Jeez.
Which also includes heavy hitters like An Officer and a Gentleman, Stand By Me, Apollo 13, fucking American Flyers, Jurassic Park. Like, there's only 2 movies in this box that I haven't seen. And they are, well, 3. Well, yeah, 3. I haven't seen An Officer and a Gentleman. I haven't seen whatever North Shore is, and I haven't seen American Flyers. I'm really interested in American Flyers. Oh, I got Crimson Tide also. American Flyers is... Who's the star? It has Radon Chong in it, which is interesting. It stars Kevin Costner, and it's about like whatchamacallit. Wait, what? Oh, this was written by Steve Teich, the guy that also did Breaking Away. Awesome. I was gonna say because this is also about competitive bike riding. So now I have to watch Breaking Away before I watch this, I think. So yeah, really excited about that. But I'm looking at the North Shore right now. This is like some like. Fucking, it looks really bad. Like it's like so bad it's good. Like this is like a Weird Wednesday movie. This is like one of those extreme sports 80s flicks, or it's mid 90s, even better. I'll just read it. The adventure of a lifetime begins when an 18-year-old surfing champion from Arizona tries to fulfill his ultimate dream of riding the awesome waves of Hawaii's legendary North Shore. Naive mainlander Rick Kane travels to the treacherous coastline of Oahu, where he soon learns that the harsh realities of life on the beach, in which a run-in with the local hot dogger or a bad ride on a mean wave can spell disaster. Featuring breathtaking photography plus a who's who of surfing's greatest athletes, North Shore is a fascinating look in the high-performance sport. So basically, this came out the same time.
It could be.
Came out the same time as Point Break. Kind of sounds like Point Break, except more about surfing and less about action. But just the cover alone is like, this one is worth $3, and it's literally I paid a dime. Don't let that, don't let my cheap prices scare you away, though. I'm not looking to make a fucking fortune off of what I sell. These movies, I'm not looking to sell any of these currently, but for VHS, I'm probably only going to charge like $4 a tape. For DVD, it's probably going to be $5, and then if I ever find Blu-rays I'm selling, those are probably going to be $7. Shirts, I'm not decided yet, and I only have like a small amount of them, or just garments in particular, but those are probably going to be like $10 to $20 a shirt, and then pants are probably going to be like $15. I don't know yet. Keep your ear to the ground. I'll be tweeting it out whenever that goes live. I don't know if I'm going to be doing it on Instagram, if I'm going to make a section of the website just for this, or if I'm going to do Depop. I have not figured that out yet. I just know I'm going to do it, and I'm probably going to do it soon, like I said. So, I forgot to mention too, I went back the next 2 days after I bought this box, and I got 2 other movies. Well, technically I got 7 other movies. I got a Rocky 1 through 5 box set on VHS, which is awesome. And then I got like 2 volumes of Mr. Bean, but then 2 days later I went to the Goodwill and I got the Lake House, Stranger Than Fiction, and Get Shorty. I don't even like Get Shorty. Stranger Than Fiction and the Lake House are 2 of my favorite movies. But this Get Shorty is a collector's edition, which has this cool slipcase where it says just some funny stuff. And on the back it says Fade to Black with like a bullet wound, and the bullet hole is right on top of where like the DVD spindle is. So it has this really cool effect. Like, I saw that, as much as I don't care for the movie as much, even despite it being like a movie about Hollywood, which are some of my favorites. I saw the casing, I was like, yeah, I'll buy that one. I'll buy that one for $6. It's funny too, because it's like, I don't know, this isn't the original printing. This is we're repackaging it because Be Cool is coming out in theaters soon. And despite that fact, like, I feel like I got a steal on it. Just like I said, if you saw this, like, I'll like send you a picture, but like, yeah, that is pretty cool. Like, you kind of have to see it to understand. Because I'm a sucker for good packaging on movies. If it's good, it's good. And the Rocky 20th anniversary box set, like it says right here, it's like commemorative 20th anniversary gift set, Rocky 1 through 5. And just the way it looks is kind of awesome. And it's cool, too, because I almost bought the Rocky movies on Prime Day. And the day after them, I got all the important ones. Well, I guess Creed is important now. But all the important ones that feature Rocky, okay? And I still haven't seen Rocky 5.
Creed's and Rocky. Rocky's and Creed.
I still haven't seen Rocky 5. I haven't seen Rocky Balboa. So I feel like
Rocky Balboa is good. I have not seen Rocky 2 through 5.
I have a feeling like next 4th of July, I'll literally do a marathon where I just pop these cassettes in one after another, and like just drink a whole like 30 case of Budweiser. Like, do the true American ideal there. So yeah, if you're curious about the finds that I keep getting, stay tuned. I'm probably just gonna solidify. Because like I tried to make $1 views Instagram, that was unsuccessful just because of the effort of running more than one. So I'll probably just have my personal, and then I'll have the sale one. So anything that you see me posting in terms of buying, I'm probably gonna have to sell soon, just because I'm literally running out of space. I do not have the room for the 150 plus DVDs I've bought over the last couple of months. I'm already at like 50 VHS tapes, and I had like 0 a month ago. It's not hoarding yet because I have places for them, but it is very quickly turning into one of those scenarios. And just a little factoid to end the show off, since we were talking about the Big Sick, especially because I'm in a romance. It's just coincidental and ironic and kind of really funny that my girlfriend's dad also shops at the Goodwill I go to and buys the same things I do. And matter of fact, I haven't met him yet. I might tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure that I saw him in passing because I saw this HD DVD player that someone was staring at, and I was like, oh, fuck, I wish I got that, just because, like, out of all, like, of course I'd love Betamax, or I'd love to have, like, a Laserdisc collection, but HD DVD is one of those things where you could very easily own every single copy, because there was only, like, 40 movies, you know?
They're not expensive at all.
No, yeah, you'll definitely get them for less than $5 a piece, and it's still an HD movie, and some of them, well, they're all on Blu-ray now, but some of them have features just like Laserdisc that I don't think were transferred over. But I'm, like, 90% sure because she, like, I told her about this, and then she asked her dad, and then she was very coy about the response, but I'm pretty sure he was the one. So I doubt he listens to podcasts. He's definitely not listening to this. But I think that, more than anything else, is proof that maybe we're meant for each other. Thanks for listening. We hope it's been a pleasure.
We're also on Debt to Cinema, where one or both of us crosses a title off our list of shame.
You can find all of our content at dollarreviews.net. Follow us on Twitter, or like us on Facebook at Dollar Reviews.
We're available on iTunes, YouTube, TuneIn, Stitcher, and constantly looking to expand to other platforms.
If you listen somewhere we're currently not available, you'd like to contribute some talking points, send a Debt to Cinema request, or if you just want to laugh at us, you can do so by reaching out to us on social media or send an email to brian@dollarreviews.net.
Or you can email me as well, steve@dollarreviews.net.
You can follow me personally on Twitter at Brian Gillis, that's BRYONGILLIS, and now you know how to spell the email too. And also under the same name on the lovely site Letterboxd, which acts as my film diary, where I rate films I'm watching, write the occasional review, and even sometimes compile lists.
You can also find me on Twitter at S_MTX, and also follow my film diary at Letterboxd under the same name, where I log everything I watch, and sometimes write brief reviews.
That's it for this week. Until next time, keep the change.